Silent Hill has always been known to have an amazing soundtrack. Matching a game with highly sensitive subjects and themes, the soundtrack didn't have a choice but to match the aesthetic. An acquired taste, if you will. Most of it is an instrumental, emotional roller coaster of ambiance and piano music, giving a feeling of stillness and solitude, but makes you feel like you're having the most lonely, desolate period of your life, but somehow, really freaking soothing. The sounds of Silent Hill can make you feel even if you don't know why, or upon small children that have never played this game, give you feelings that you may not have ever experienced before. Silent Hill sits you in a setting of a dreamlike state, so it's only natural that a especially unsettling music score would be its supporting character. Ambience is that some would say it would be like a main keyword of Silent Hill, to be honest. Ambience is essentially just another word for atmosphere, and the technical definition of an atmosphere is an envelope of gases surrounding Earth or another planet. Silent Hill wasn't necessarily another planet, but it obviously was out of this world. It was a whole ass nightmare surrounded by everything you don't want to see, literally and figuratively. My last video was about the entire experience of Silent Hill 2, and what made the game so massively popular in the first place. It was a new generation of psychological horror that presented topics that games weren't talking about back then. Talking about the mental and emotional trauma of a man hiding from his own darkness. On a 66th installment of Kingdom Hearts, the door to darkness was never sealed. It's forever in pain. It's forever like you're just dealing with the epitome of sadness and wallowing back. Like Mickey comes out of nowhere. It was like, hey, we're not sealing this door today.
Now, Sora, let's close this door for good.
Silent Hill 2, alongside its MC James Sunderland, taps into a storyline of understanding, battling, and feeding into his own fears, flaws, guilt, and mistakes. So basically, it's presenting a mental unknown and a physical unknown. Two unknowns. You got two unknowns, one unknown, three unknowns. You got a lot of unknowns.
Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
What?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more time.
And with that, you get one big gray blob questioning himself. But, however, it is a big gray blob of reference to see how James actually literally is. But the gray blob is a reference to how James actually is. Like, he's literally like guy number 57 that was called up into this deep, outlandish storyline. Like, hey, what's going on? So we finally got a movie role for you. Look, man, I think you're perfect for the part. You're like that one guy that's kind of always be in a background. He's a background character. He's in the coffee shop at the Central Perk and Friends. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, we got you a movie role. It's pretty simple. You're kind of going as demented, tormented area. You're playing this guy who's essentially murdered his love. It's crazy. It's crazy. You got it. Just come down to the studio. We'll explain it. We're good to go. We got you. Sign up papers. We do it. If you search Silent Hill playlist on YouTube, you end up getting these I'm Feeling Lonely and The Ride to Nowhere titled mixes, insinuating that this is a silence that you're not comfortable with. The silence that makes you think, I'd rather be listening to that one shorty who bombed at the fucking, was the MLB? It was somewhere where he was explaining the national anthem, and she bombed and everyone said she sucked. I don't remember her name. Yeah, it was bad. Regardless of the situation, I'd rather hear that than hearing this dark, painful silence that makes you feel like I'm rotting in the depths of my mind. Both are pretty painful experiences, to be honest. A lot of songs in the series overall are made with a lot of high sharp sounds and low subs. I notice there's a lot of loops, and I mean it's a lot of loops, bro, a ton. What makes it even crazier is that some of these loops definitely sound slightly off metronome. I'm guessing this is on purpose to raise the pure annoyance because of something that sounds okay but kind of backwards at the same time is one of the most loudest and abrupt sounds. I really don't know how to explain it, but I think you know what I'm trying to talk about. I think you know what I'm trying to say, right? To be honest, it makes you feel like something's in the room that's chasing you sometimes, but there's nothing even in the room, which I'm bro, you kind of wasting my mental energy on this, a lot. Stop. I actually saw recently that either in Silent Hill 1 or 2, there's actually a pretty big amount of the game where there's like no enemies. But for some reason, my ass was still scared to walk anywhere in like any of these. Team Silent did a hell of a job making you worried throughout the whole game. All three. Akira Yamaoka was the sound designer and composer of the original Silent Hill back in '99. Having a background in electronic music, he was one of the guys who brought a non-traditional sound using what you'd find in techno, D&B, breakbeat house, specifically deep house if you're talking about vibes, and hard industrial. As a house and techno producer, I gotta admit, this is hitting hard. This is nice. I love talking about this. I could do about this all day. This is just nice. This is lovely. Back in the 90s, even in the early 2000s, there was a ton of analog, opposite of what you would see by digital these days in the industry. Like if you look at a lot of old school DJ sets and producer setups in studios, it's these giant soundboards and motherfuckers using vinyl. Low key, I want to spin vinyl. I want to try at least once, but that's neither here nor there, not important right now. Akira used a bit of an industrial sound, which slowed down in bare form is kind of perfect for Silent Hill. What I found very interesting is the fact that industrial is known for its darker taste and element, typically explained as noise and distortions that represents pain, agony, and controversial topics such as fascism, a lot of perversions, adult themes, man, I don't know, mental states, cult and occult vibes, bro. Here we go again. I talked about this in Resident Evil 4 video with the themes coming back. Hey, but you know, it's a horror game. What else can you really expect, right? Like, anyway, this is one of the main themes that the director Akira Yamaoka wanted to represent. Majority, if not all, of Silent Hill's music consists of minor chords and dark pads that create an ambiance and sadness. Now, what I did find is the original sample pack that Akira used during his production process, which is really cool to be honest. Distorted Reality 2 by Spectrasonics is apparently one of the biggest sample packs known to mankind, or something, I freaking swear, like it's pretty big. Released back in the 90s, when you think about it, these sounds aren't really too different than the things that you see in typical action films and drum patterns and loops, distorted stabs that come along with it. You're like, it's kind of like has that vibe when it comes to like, oh hey, like this person's getting ready to do this scene, opening third act of this movie. This is like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do setup, I'm gonna do whatever. Like it's very flexible music. You can kind of hear it. Like I can put it to this song or this theme or whatever, and then it'll work. It's very cinematic music, and hey, the fact that it works for Silent Hill makes it even extra cooler. However, DR2 is very well known for its minor ambience. Where's the ambiance? It is for ambience and ambiance are two different things. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sounding like a dumbass. I don't know, man. Like, let's just continue. However, DR2 is very well known for its minor ambience pads, which is now available through OmniSphere. This is super cool because when I got into producing music, I heard OmniSphere was really good for pads. It was a really good pad VST. I never bought it because it was like $500. Dog. And I didn't find a good crack for it. And look, trust me, it's the big 2024. Like, I'm not necessarily broke anymore. Like, all my stuff is legal. Don't worry. Don't call it a fucking, like, I'm pretty sure no one's gonna call it a fucking pirate police on me. But yeah, no, it's all good. I wasn't, none of this is. Scratch it. Let's get out of here. Let's just continue. Let's go. So the fact that the original Silent Hill sample pack basically is essentially in OmniSphere is just mind-blowing to me. Like, yo, that is super cool. I also find it cool that Silent Hill music being very emotional, being very dark and cold, it brings a similar feel to what Halloween typically feels like, or typically scary, cold, and emotion, but somehow very comforting. And there's some element in there connecting people that I personally think that can connect people that love Halloween will probably find Silent Hill very soothing, musically or probably anything else, to be honest. Obviously, Akira changed a few things around with these sounds, with the tonality, speed, pitch, but there are a few things that he barely changed, left as is, but blended with other samples. I honestly figured that a lot of these songs wouldn't work when I was trying to do like remixes of them, and kind of like low-key, like I don't think that really would make any sense, because honestly, a lot of these songs were made with some like really thick, crazy like beats, like yo. And I tried and I was like, maybe I just suck, I don't know, who knows, whatever, right? Like, when it comes to the beats element of Silent Hill, Akira also had the experience and love for hip-hop and trip-hop. Shout out to Heaven's Night, because Heaven's Night I think is one of the most hardest beats in the entire series. Like there's no, yo. Heaven's Night is a good track. I love Heaven's Night. And right behind that is the result screen in like the first Silent Hill. Bro, chill beats look for your 7-year-old daughter too, bro. Like it's such a tough track. I love the result screen. Like I'll take walks and just be like just jamming to it. Like especially like during like twilight time, or if it's like a gray, like overcast, cloudy kind of day. Perfect. I feel like the industrial elements, regardless of the long pads and piano keys, or even hard beats mixed in, portrayed the darkness, grittiest, and decayed sections of the games. Some of these songs are the epitome of sounds that plagues your feeling of guilt and despair. One of the perfect examples of this is Betrayal in Silent Hill 2, hammering solid sounds being used as the percussion elements but barely noticeable, gives that intention of something that is inescapable, while being cornered by 2 pyramid heads while the girl you wanted to sleep and smash with is being hanging in the balance.
That's why I needed you. Needed someone to punish me for my sins.
Or Null Moon, which is a beautifully done piece with keys to look over the night sky to, and animated with a very low end soft bass kick that makes you want to bob your head like you've been in the studio for hours and you just hitting that grind, just boom, 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 like yo. Grade A, another grade A track right there. Top tier. Top 5. Some people find it a bit underwhelming that Akira used a ton of examples for the OSTs. However, most songs in Big 2024 are used with samples. Majority of my time in Splice, I come across a lot of vocal samples that I heard in house tracks or techno tracks 3 months ago in a mix. Or hey, it could be like a mainstream song and I heard like a sample and I'm like, yo, I know this sample. Yeah, y'all just getting the stuff from Splice. I mean, I guess it is what it is, right? Like, hey, sample packs are to be used as available. It's how you use them. What can you do to make them unique? I can take a vocal sample and chop it up into the original sound and you would never know. That's the most important aspect. Everything is a bass form, but what can you make this into? How can I make this into my own? Plus, it's electronic music, so it's done electronically. EDM, like that whole EDM, like, debate. Like, is EDM, like, dance music? It's like, it's electronic. Dance music. Yeah. He also did create original guitar pieces for the game as well, all done by him, and with that you can say he's a very well-rounded musician. The ambient horror sound of Silent Hill is one of the most iconic but darkest game music ever created. He wanted to make something different than what every other game was providing and felt that the industrial sound was more fitting for the empty, desolate theme of what Silent Hill was supposed to be. Let's be honest, Resident Evil's OSTs would not hit as hard in Silent Hill. Most video game music is cinematic, but Silent Hill does something different. Think about the comparison between Resident Evil and Silent Hill, which is quite often. They're very similar, and as far as the genre goes, they pretty much go neck and neck, with the exception of Konami failing its fan, that is. I'm sorry, like, Konami just be failing. They came back! I'm hearing positive reviews on a Silent 2 remake, so, hey, give a pat on the back, Konami. Give a pat on the back for all the fans that kind of, like, be like, hey, you screwed us. But I came up with a big one. That's what's up. back in the game. Obviously, there is slightly different gameplay elements, but the atmosphere is what differentiates Silent Hill from Resident Evil. Resident Evil is like the cinematic horror film that everyone can't deny, but Silent Hill is the cult classic with never done elements. And this is why Silent Hill had, and still has, one of the greatest soundtracks to ever exist in video games. Forever. Oh yeah. Cuscotopia. With that being said, thanks a lot for coming over to the channel. What do you think about the Silent Hill soundtracks? Which ones are your favorite? What songs are your favorite? Which is the most like unsettling ones? Because I know you got 1 or 2 or like 3 or 4 or 5. Let me know if I should do any more of these like video game music videos. Video game music videos. Game music videos. Yes, that. Whatever that is. As a producer myself, I feel like I'm kind of throwing my thoughts all over the place. It was kind of fun just rambling about it, to be honest. Let's talk about it in the comments section down below. I'd love to hear your opinion. Stay safe, stay kicking. I'll catch y'all later.
Oh, forget it. This is way too gross. Who would even think of doing something so disgusting?